Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. Happy 1 year wedding anniversary to Bob and Eliza. That still sounds made up, but apparently it is the real world that we live in, so that's cool. Um, Sorry I missed reading on Sunday again. I know it's been 2 Sundays in a row now. I don't think this is gonna be a trend. It was just my birthday, and then this past weekend, Britt and I finally had time to clean, which we desperately needed to do because she's been so busy on the weekends that she hasn't been cleaning, and I've just been lazy, so we did a deep clean of the house on Sunday, which was great. Well, by house, I mean apartment, we don't have a lot of space to clean, but we did that, which was great. It desperately needed it. But after that, I was exhausted and full of chili, and all I wanted to do was lie and moan, which I did. Which I did. It was great. Um, but yeah, that's why I wasn't reading on Sunday. Um, what else have we got going on? Haven't actually been playing as much Animal Crossing lately. I still like it, but I'm playing Hearthstone again. Mostly the new Battleground mode, which is a good fit for me because it's like bursts of activity and then bursts of waiting during which I can write, which is nice because I'm writing some more. I posted fic yesterday. I want to say yesterday, so if you didn't see that, you should check it out. Hopefully, I will one day post something else or write other things. I'd been sort of getting back into the habit of writing before, everything. And I feel okay that I had not been writing, but yeah, it's nice to be sort of feeling like I'm doing that a little more. Hopefully, I'll finish off some of the many, many works in progress that I keep abandoning. So, yeah. Um, Pretty uneventful one today. We listened to the delightful podcast that they released for the Parks and Rec special reunion special, which was sweet. And then we watched the reunion special again, and then we've mostly been watching. We watched a movie. Oh, we watched the Lego movie, the second Lego movie. We just like to have stuff on in the background while we're working, so this is like all stuff we were doing while we were doing our work because as it turns out, you can basically listen to things while you're working. Usually I do audiobooks or podcasts, but since Britt and I are both at home, we can watch things. So yeah, second Lego movie. Good, not as good as the first one, but fine. Um, Enjoyable. I'm feeling more positive towards Chris Pratt than I have in months, which will evaporate as soon as I see anything he's doing, but the stuff they said about the Parks and Rec behind the scenes stuff was cute. He had a lot of things. Honestly, the best thing about that podcast was learning all of the stuff that all of them still had. Like, Paul Rudd had that Nope 2012 sweatshirt, which was apparently a wrap gift, but he just had it with him and threw it on without anyone telling him to do so, which is amazing. And Adam Scott did have the little Ben Wyatt claymation dude just in his house, so yeah, highly recommend that. It's under the Good Place podcast because the Good Place podcast is now just where Mike Schur is like, yeah, we can do podcasts about all my shows. And yeah, definitely worth listening to for the Good Place too. If y'all haven't aren't in on that, you should do it. Oh, and we have a new My Brother and Me we need to listen to. We can do that tomorrow. Also need to go to the post office. And I'm just listing things. We're going to send my mom a Mother's Day gift, so Massachusetts now has masks required. I think basically anytime you leave your immediate dwelling, like public spaces in buildings. So when we go down to check the mail, we have to wear masks, which is pretty much fine at this point. We now have enough masks. My mom sent some, and Britt's mom sent some. So Britt has. We have like I think a total of 10 masks. Only one of which is a bad one that I made up by cutting up a T-shirt. All the others are like the nice cloth ones where you can put coffee filters in them. So yeah, we're gonna run some errands tomorrow in our fancy masks. Our compost service, which is just basically we don't have room to do any kind of composting or anywhere to put the compost, so we're signed up with a service that takes our food waste and turns it into dirt that we donate to people who need it, which is cool. They'd been shut down for a month, but they're back up coming to us tomorrow, so I need to remember to bring the barrel that we had bucket. Bucket's the word. Barrel is different. Anyway, I need to bring the bucket that we had down, and I'm saying this because I am worried I will forget to do it. But I believe in myself. Yeah, seriously, if you've not looked at Eliza's Instagram and Bob and Eliza's Twitters, you definitely should, because they posted adorable anniversary stuff that, again, deeply surreal, makes me feel like they are punking us, and someday will reveal that they are punking us and break my heart. But, you know, it's been, well, a year since they got married, less than a year since they blew all our minds by announcing it on Twitter, but it has been long enough that I don't think they're going to be like, hey, we got hacked, especially because they have referenced their marriage in, you know, real life to humans, which is difficult to hack. Yeah. So check that out. We're going to get started pretty soon here. What's the word count on this one? Do I have it open somewhere? I know I do. Is this it? Yeah. Okay, so this one's just about 4,000 words, so light and breezy, one of my earlier fics in the fandom, which is always fun to go back to. For a long time, this was like my fic with the most kudos, and I was kind of sad when it got dethroned, because I liked that it was sort of the kudos juggernaut. Now it's not, but you know, still fun. Yeah, okay, it's 8:02. Let's get this party started. It's not a party. Bellamy hates wedding planning. He's happy for Octavia, obviously. Lincoln is a great guy. He makes Octavia happy, and they're going to have a great life together. They're also going to have a beautiful, special wedding, and he'll probably cry at it. He's not ashamed. But he has absolutely no interest in planning it. So he's playing Monster Hunter 4 on his 3DS and letting Octavia, Clark, and Lincoln hammer out the details without him. Clark kicks in whenever his opinion is necessary, which is a good system for both of them. He doesn't have to pay attention, and she gets to kick him. Everyone wins. Belle can do it. He's not bringing a date, he hears Octavia saying, and that gets his attention. What? Yes, I am. Octavia rolls her eyes. You are not. Why wouldn't I? Lincoln and Clark are looking at him now, too, like all of them think he's nuts. You've never had a girlfriend, says Clark slowly. What, were you planning to bring one of your random one-night stands? I've had girlfriends. Name one, says Octavia. He frowns. There was Roma. In high school? Asks Clark. She did not count as a girlfriend, you just slept with her a lot. Also, that was like 13 years ago? Okay, fine. He rubs his hand over his mouth. Well, how are we defining girlfriend here? Oh my god, says Clark, clearly despairing. Someone you're serious enough about to bring to our wedding, says Lincoln. He thinks about it for a while. Huh, he finally says. So yeah, Belle's not gonna have a date, Octavia says brightly. Hey, wait, I didn't agree to that, says Bellamy. I could still have a date. You think you're gonna be in the first serious relationship of your entire life in the next 6 months? Why not? Why would you? Asks Clark. So I'll have a date. Octavia narrows her eyes at him. Do you just want to get out of doing this? No, of course not. I don't even know what you want me to do. I just think it's unfair that you assume I won't have a date. Are you assuming Clark won't have a date? I've had way more girlfriends than you have, Clark says, which is true. Yeah, but you're single right now, too. Fine, Belle, says Octavia. Here's the deal. We're sending out invitations in, 4 months? She asks Clark. Clark is the one who's good with timelines. Yeah. If you find a girl you like enough to put down as your plus one by then, you are excused from any and all wedding responsibilities other than walking me down the aisle. And if I don't? I don't know, what'll you give me? Are you two seriously making a bet about this? Asks Lincoln. Bellamy is not sure if he's horrified or just kind of confused. What do you want? He asks Octavia. You pay for all the flowers, she decides. She grins. That should be plenty of time for me to pick out nicer ones if you lose. Can't he just bring someone to win the bet? Lincoln asks. Horrified and confused, definitely. Have you met Bellamy? Clark asks, rolling her eyes. There's no way he could fake a girlfriend. He's terrible at pretending to like people. She flashes him a grin. Hell, he's bad at actually liking people. Your support means the world to me, he says, dry, and she ruffles his hair. What are best friends for? She turns back to Lincoln. Anyway, if Bellamy brings someone, it'll be the real deal. But I don't think you've got anything to worry about. Says you, Bellamy mutters and crosses his arms. Bellamy mutters and crosses his arms. How hard can it be to get a girlfriend? So, how do I get a girlfriend? He asks Clark a week later. You should try Craigslist, she says, straight-faced. Nothing about this situation would make you sound like a serial killer. Seriously. Seriously, how do you find girls to sleep with you normally? I go to bars. So you do that, and then you don't sleep with them. I'm pretty sure people sleep with their girlfriends. Someday I'm gonna murder you, and the jury's just gonna be like, you showed a lot of restraint waiting this long. Help me, please, he says, dropping his head into her lap and looking up at her with beseeching eyes. Clark's been his best friend for almost as long as he can remember, since he tried to steal her cookie in 4th grade and she nearly broke his nose getting it back. She was, and remains, about the coolest person he has ever met. Clark scratches his scalp with a sigh. Do you actually want a girlfriend, or do you just want to prove Octavia wrong? Because there's nothing wrong with not having a relationship, Belle, seriously. You don't have to do this. He sighs and closes his eyes. Well, Octavia loves flowers. Clark knocks him on his forehead gently, like she's verifying there's something in there, and he swats at her. I don't know, a girlfriend would probably be cool, if I could find a good one. I like couple stuff. Like brunch. Brunch is awesome. You just like brunch because you can drink at 11 on a Sunday and no one judges you. Also, croissants are awesome. There's more to having a girlfriend than brunch. She pauses and then says, You do kind of love cuddling. I do not. You know your head is in my lap right now, right? He thinks about objecting, but she might try to make him move, and that would suck. Okay, fine, point. See? I'd be a good boyfriend. I'm affectionate and shit. Ringing endorsement, she sighs. You really want to do this? I really do. Fine, I'll be your wingman. But you owe me, Blake, seriously. I'll put it on my tab. Monday after work, he goes over to meet her at her store. She runs one of those paint-your-own pottery places and sells a few of her own finished pieces in the corner, too. Monday is her production day, so she's making a bunch of mugs and vases and shit for her staff to deal with tomorrow. Bellamy finds the mug he's been painting off and on for the last 3 months and settles down at one of the tables while she works. It's mostly green with brown and black splotches, like camouflage. Not really on purpose, his first attempt was just so shitty it had to be hidden. So you wanted to have a pre-bar strategy meeting? He prompts. Clark looks up. She's got clay on her face and her hair is coming out of her braid in chaotic wisps. He always comes on Mondays because frazzled, ultra-focused Clark is his favorite, and she forgets to eat a lot. He brought her a sandwich she hasn't noticed yet. Come to think of it, she might not have noticed him. It's hilarious. Oh, hi. Yeah. She goes to push her hair back, but remembers her hands are dirty at the last minute and scowls at them. What time is it? 6. Right. I guess I should start cleaning up. She finishes up the mug she's working on and stows it with the others. So, what's your plan? I think I'm going to see if I can put some flowers on it, says Bellamy, looking down at his mug. If I do enough coats, it should work out, right? She bumps her hip against him as she passes. I meant when we go out tonight, but yes, that should work. Oh, I don't know, the same thing I always do, but after I ask her out. Yeah, I think no. No? She sits down across from him. Think of it as truth in advertising. You usually go in to get laid, and girls know that, which is great, everyone gets what they want. But if you try to turn that into a relationship, you risk just making everyone uncomfortable. Try going for girls who are actually looking to make a connection. Grab dinner first. He opens his mouth and she holds her hand up. Don't worry, I'm not saying you can't get laid. Just adjust your expectations. You're looking for someone you can have a conversation with, so start from there, not from, man, check out her legs, Clark. What, she can't have great legs and a good personality? Clark snorts. Set up a date before sleeping with them. That's all I ask. She grins. But you can base your decision to set up a date on how great her legs are. That's fine. Oh, good, he says. I thought dating was going to be absolutely no fun. Tons of people date every day, Bellamy. You'll be fine. Now get your paints put away. I need to get cleaned up. Eat your sandwich, he yells after her, and smiles when she gives him the finger, but takes the sandwich to the back with her. He's feeling less good 2 hours later because, as it turns out, he never learned how to talk to girls. It's not hard, says Clark, sounding baffled. You do it all the time. I flirt. I don't chat. You know I suck at small talk. Remember the museum gala last year? She cackles because she's a terrible person. Oh my god, that was the best night of my life. She'd been his +1 for a fancy work party, and probably the only reason he survived it. He's repressed most of it, but he definitely offended at least 2 board members, drank too much to try to loosen up, and accidentally propositioned his boss's husband. As always, your support is appreciated, he says, scowling. Okay, says Clark. That's actually a good thing to think about. Just talk about work. Work? Yeah, once you actually started talking about museum programs at that stupid gala, you actually relaxed and became a functional person. Just tell some cute stories about kids accidentally kicking you in the balls until you're comfortable. You have great stories. That works. Many normal people chat about work, yeah. Or Octavia. Work and family, safe topics of conversation even you can't fuck up. Besides, I got custody of my sister after our mom died and heroically raised her alone while finishing college and securing her future. Is inspirational and kind of hot, so work that angle. Girls are into that. He gives her a skeptical look. Really? Yeah, responsibility and paternal instincts. Exactly what you want in a long-term partner. Huh. He signals a bartender and gets them 2 shots of Clark's favorite disgusting cheap gin. Definitely can't be any worse than the last 2 hours. They clink their shot glasses and down them. Great. Good pep talk. Thanks, boss. She claps his shoulder. Go get him, Tiger. His first date is with a hot brunette named Raven, who's an actual rocket scientist and looks like she could, if not take him in a fight, at least injure him so badly that he'd never fully recover. Which, as Clark pointed out proudly, is exactly his type. Dinner is fine. As Clark advised, they chat about work and about Octavia, and after an hour and a glass of wine, he's relaxed enough to pretty much just talk to her like a normal person. He doesn't really know that he wants to date her in the long term. He has no idea what that would even involve, but at least it's not a disaster. They have sex after, and he asks if he can call. She shrugs and says, sure. After the 3rd date, Clark tells him, definitely not a relationship. We've had 3 dates. You got dinner, date. You went to a bar together, yelled at a basketball game on TV, and hooked up in an alley. Not a date. How is that not a date? Clark considers and then says, ask her if you're dating. Fine. Oh no, what? Says Raven that night. Sorry, we're hooking up, right? It's awesome. Bellamy sighs and thunks his head on the bar. God, why is this so hard? What? My sister says I've never been in a real relationship. I'm trying to prove her wrong. Raven sort of stares at him, the same look Clark gives him that says, I'm fond of you, but I think you might have been dropped on your head a lot as a child. Wow. I know. She pets his shoulder. Well, it's not me, but if you want a reference to tell future girls you're good at sex, I'm your girl. How's the girlfriend quest going? Octavia asks. They're trying cakes, which is his absolute favorite part of wedding planning. Every day should just be cake tasting day. Fine, he says. He had a date with a girl named Maya yesterday, and she probably wouldn't mind if he called her, but he's not really sure he wants to. She was nice, but a little shy and reserved, and he couldn't really see it going anywhere. Clark assured him that was normal, but he still thinks the entire dating thing is way more trouble than it's worth. They're at least keeping Raven, which is cool. They ran into her at the bar and she and Clark both gave him a horrific dating pep talk, and then somehow became best friends. She's now hooking up with Clark's assistant manager, Wick, who seems to be trying to turn the hookup into a relationship. Bellamy asked Clark if he could do that, but she said the technique was way beyond his skill level, and she's probably not wrong. It's good, he adds, when Octavia just looks at him, eyebrows raised. I've gone out with a couple girls. Nothing stuck yet, but it's been fun. Clark chokes on her cake, and Lincoln thumps her on the back. Bellamy kicks her in the ankle, since no one can see. Uh-huh, says Octavia. He's doing very well, Clark says. He made a friend and everything. That's the first step. I still have like 3.5 more months, says Bellamy. It's fine. Octavia shakes her head. Sure, Belle, whatever you say. He gets to know a lot more girls, which is kind of cool. He doesn't have a big social circle. It's really just Clark and Octavia since Miller moved to Texas, and then a bunch of friends by association. And while none of the others started hanging around like Raven has, it at least makes him feel like if Clark and Octavia both suddenly got new jobs across the world and left him, he could reconstruct something resembling a social life. Realistically, he'd probably just follow them, but still. His record for actual Clark-verified dates is 3, with a pretty cool girl named Anya who drinks him under the table and swears like a sailor. They mutually break it off because neither of them are really feeling romance, which is a horrific conversation to have, and Bellamy hates it. Clark sets her up with her ex-girlfriend Lexa, and everyone involved is happier. You should start marketing yourself, Clark says. Like, you're not a good boyfriend, but after 3 dates with you, you'll break it off and the girl will hook up with one of your more competent friends. Wasn't that the plot of a really bad movie? Probably, Bellamy says. He sighs. Dating sucks. You can afford to pay for Octavia's flowers. You could just stop this. He'd sort of forgotten about the bet. It's weird, right? That I can't do this? Clark puts her arm around his shoulders. Don't get mopey on me, Belle. You're awesome. Some people aren't meant for relationships. It's not a big deal. What about you? She stiffens. What about me? Are you bringing anyone to Octavia's weddings? New boyfriend? New girlfriend? You'd know if I was, she says. I haven't met anyone I like in a while. She grins. And you don't see me whining about it. He smiles. I could wingman you. No, you definitely couldn't. He laughs and kisses her temple. Yeah, okay. I definitely couldn't. Raven is the one who tells him. He's chatting with a girl named Echo, who seems like a good prospect, when Clark stumbles over and drapes herself on him, all sloppy, drunken affection. Belle, I lost a drinking game. Bellamy puts his arm around her, steadying her, and gives Echo a smile. Excuse me a sec. He turns his head back to look at Clark. Did you drink actual rubbing alcohol? Gin. This guy was like, we should drink every time someone misses the dartboard, and then we weren't drinking enough, so we switched to every time someone hit the dartboard, which is a lot. Bellamy frowns and looks around. Which guy? You didn't leave him alone with your drink, did you? He strokes her hair back from her forehead. Did you get water? She smiles at him, ridiculous and goofy, and he smiles back helplessly. I'm not roofied, promise. Just drunk. I probably need, like, food? Do you have chili fries? No, but we can get chili fries. And water. How much gin did you have? Way too much. Thanks, Captain Obvious. He glances back at Echo, but she's gone somewhere, and he can't really bring himself to care where. He orders the fries and gets 2 glasses of water and half carries Clark back to a booth so he can support her. He's not convinced she could stay upright on a bar stool right now. He makes her eat the whole plate of fries and drink both waters, and then she falls asleep on him. Raven slides into the other side of the booth. Hey, I'm gonna do you a favor. Yeah? You can't get a girlfriend because you already have a girlfriend, she says. Any girl who sees you with her for more than 30 seconds knows she doesn't have a fucking shot in hell with you long term. Bellamy looks down at Clark, alarmed. What? You're stupid in love with that girl, Bellamy Blake, says Raven, and claps him on the shoulder before she leaves. Clark makes a soft noise and noses against his chest, and Bellamy thinks, well, yeah. He's back at her store on Monday, working on his hideous mug. He's had 2 days to think about what Raven said, and he still doesn't really know what to do with it. He's always loved Clark in an easy, uncomplicated way. She's his best friend, his emergency contact, the most important person in his whole world aside from Octavia. He had a crush on her for a while, back in high school, right around when he was figuring out how his dick worked, and Octavia told him he was absolutely not allowed to fuck it up with her, so he never made a move. If she'd ever said anything, if she'd ever hinted, he would have gone for it in a second, but she never did. "I'm not feeling the bar tonight," he tells her. "You want to get dinner instead?" "Sure," she smiles. "Giving up on dating?" Raven said it was hopeless. "I've been saying that for months. Why do you believe it when she says it?" He shrugs. It made a lot of sense, the way she put it. "You're a dork," Clark says, all fondness, and goes to wash up. They go to her favorite gross, greasy pizza place and spend the entire meal complaining about how Star Trek Into Darkness ruined all the goodwill they had for the new reboot. He knew he'd rather spend an evening with Clark than outed on an awkward first date already, but Raven definitely broke him because now he can't help thinking about taking her home, pushing her up against his door, kissing down her neck, and she kicks him. "What is wrong with you?" "Huh? You're not listening." "Sorry, I'm just thinking about what Raven said." She makes a face. "Please tell me you're not going to try to date her now. Wick really likes her. He'd mope and I'd have to deal with it. He's the worst when he mopes." "No." She cocks her head at him with a smile. There's still a splotch of clay on her neck, and it makes his fingers twitch. "So what did she say?" He wets his lips. "I'm in love with you," he says. When she doesn't say anything, he adds, "It seems really obvious, in retrospect, but I didn't realize. So the dating seemed stupid." "Belle, no big deal," he says. She nods once, jerky, and then says, I gotta go, okay?" "Yeah." He calls Octavia on his way home. "I'm in love with Clark, and I'm gonna lose our bet." She sighs. "Oh, good." "Yeah, that's what I thought." He's lying on his bed trying to read when his door opens. It's either Octavia or Clark. No one else has a key. He looks resolutely at the book, words blurring together in front of his eyes, and tries not to wonder which one it is. It could go either way. The bed dips next to him, and Clark says, 11th grade, Murphy and his dick bag friends were picking on Charlotte, that little 8th grader who had a crush on you. There were 4 of them, and I was going to lose that fight hard, and then you showed up and gave me this fucking cocky smirk, like somehow 2 of us could kick all their asses, and I was, completely in love with you for a year." He risks a glance over at her. She's looking at his ceiling. The smudge of clay is still on her neck. "It got better in college. I still, I don't love anyone like I love you. But you were busy with Octavia, and that was all either of us could think about, and by the time it settled down, it was just sort of one more thing, Of course I loved you. No big deal." She lets out a breath. "You better be sure, Bellamy. This can't just be..." He kisses her, and it's everything. His whole world is laser focused on this moment. Just her, just the 2 of them. His thumb finds the smudge of clay and strokes it, and she sighs against his mouth. "I'm sure," he says. "I'm a fucking idiot, seriously. I love you, please, just..." She laughs, soft, and angles closer, tangling her hand in his hair, kissing him again. She pulls away just enough to say, "I believe you," and he chases her mouth. The next time they come up for air, he says, "We get dinner first, right? To show I'm..." Her hands slide under his shirt, pulling it up and off. "We had dinner. We've had a lot of dinners." She grins. "Besides, I know how bad you are on dates." "I was getting better," he grumbles. "You weren't," she says. "You were kind of a disaster." "Shut up," he says, with no heat. And she does. They've got better things to do anyway. Clark is already invited to the wedding, so she's not technically his +1. Bellamy argues that he still would put her down, so it counts. Octavia says it doesn't because he already knew her, so he didn't really find her. Not that I want you to find a different girl, she hastens to add. You have to keep Clark. Yeah, not an issue, says Bellamy, glancing over at the bar. She and Lincoln are doing shots because neither of them wanted to be involved in this conversation. He doesn't blame them. I'll pay half the flowers and do whatever you want me to do for the ceremony. Just seat me with Clark and have me help her with whatever she's doing. That probably should have just been my plan from the beginning, huh? Asks Octavia. Probably, Clark agrees, sitting down next to Bellamy. He puts his arm around her and she steals his beer. But I'm not complaining. Octavia hides her smile in her beer. You two are adorable. We are, Bellamy agrees. He pays for all the flowers anyway. He probably still owes her. Okay, so that's that fic. And that's the end of our stream. Hope you're all doing well. Have a good rest of the night, etc., etc. I'll be back on Thursday. Night, y'all.